Greetings, citizens of Plebville. It is I, your royal plebeian gumbo. Today, we are going to answer a crucial question with inscriptions are better for range marches. Normal damage boosts or skill damage bonuses? Okay, roll intro.
Gumbo in the pot, thick steam in the air. Season it heavy, got the spices to scare. My siege drops fire, watch the towers crumble. Archers take flight, but they fumble in the jungle. Blades clash loud, infantry in the grind. Cavalry charge, but they fall behind. It's the flavor of war, every bite is a lesson. Pew-Tang Clan's the ultimate weapon. Pew-Tang Clan ain't nothing to mess with. Pew-Tang Clan ain't nothing to mess with.
Okay, boys and girls, let's get the easy one out of the way. Then I can explain our testing methods and some interesting results. Gaia and Gonzalo are absolutely normal damage boosts. Okay, got it. Good. Now let's get into the juicy stuff. So first I need to share my theory and reasoning for it. So with boosts being multiplicative of their actual number, for example, a 5% bonus is extra 5%. However, depending on the match, 5% boost can be closer to a 7 to 8% bonus. Given that siege marches have low damage factors and longer skill cycles, my theory coming into this testing was that with these factors, it may be possible that you benefit more from boosting your basic attacks. Okay, so let's tackle this on paper. Years back, it was shown that a basic attack is equal to a 200 damage factor. And we can see that probably accurate still given commanders like QSH, who, without his expertise, converts his basic attack into a 200 damage factor skill damage. I believe it's a few others with similar wording on the damage amount. So if we consider that you have a march taking 12 turns to fire off both the primary and secondary commander's active skills, let's say 2400 damage factor from basic attacks over one cycle. Now let's look at Steven/Babber. That's a 2000 damage factor each skill cycle. And yes, I know I'm not doing math for the insta-procs yet, but I will roll that into the equation later, I promise. So you see, 400 damage factor difference, that's positive for basic attacks. Now let's actually look at how I tested this, because I have often found out that raw numbers on paper can be misleading, sadly. So what I did was, for this experiment, I hit a level 34 barb 3 times. I will test after MGE, BTW, and see if this is same on a march. We'll pin in the comments if anything changes. But what I did was first, attack was naked. Then I added sharpshooter. Yes, its rage debuff is irrelevant to DPS in this situation. Then I removed sharpshooter and I added furious, so 5% bonus every time. And on the other end, 8% for just the secondary. Then I based off the number of troops wounded and matched out the differences. Okay, so Naked Test had the basic attacks on average around 1100. When I added the sharpshooter, it only went up to just under 1200, so not actually much of an increase at all. So an extra 1200 damage factor per cycle. So this gave us about a 9% increase to our troops we wounded. Okay, now let's look at skill damage. So Naked Steven did 6000, and that was the same with the bonus as it doesn't buff primary. Now Babber is where it got interesting. He wounded 10,000 troops when naked and 14,000 when heated up. So we go from 16,000 damage per skill cycle to 20,000, so an increase of about 4,000 wounded troops. I want to also mention real quick, these are not sev wounds, but only wounded. The actual breakdown of how much of that would be sev and slightly wounded, we can explore another day. So we saw a 25% increase to wounded troops using Furious. To be fair, Babber hits harder than any other commander when it comes to single target now. I suspect with a 2.5% skill damage buff, that number goes down a decent amounts, let's say in half, and does 2,000 extra wounded troops. Okay, now about insta-procs. Well, that's what puts it over the edge in favor of skill damage. Realistically though, the results are going to be very similar, and it becomes a micro-optimization until you add in instaprocs. But even then, it's not really changing the equation by a lot. I would recommend skill damage inscriptions on most marches. You will get some fluctuations based off of pairings. For example, Margaret has a 50% normal damage buff. This will help the special and rare inscriptions even further when that's active. Okay, so if the results are similar, is there really anything we can do to improve our damage output more? And yes, there actually is. So the formula is set for 12 turns, and that's counting when the primary and secondary have both fired their skills. If it takes longer, it makes normal damage boosts better than previously, but probably not enough to justify them over skill. Well, then how do we increase our DPS then? Well, we speed up our raid cycle. The faster the raid cycle, the better your DPS is. Quick side note, I'm optimizing for DPS, not trade quality in this video. How do we speed up our raid cycle? Well, skill damage talent trees, using horn and drums, and the best way is to enter your Visa info into Pluto Mall. Just kidding, you can't buy bundles that improve raid cycles. Well, like always, Pleb family, leave comments if you agree or disagree and tell me your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Pleb out.